The need for change in our game has never been far from the headlines in years, but never has the will for change been more keenly focused than it has been in recent months. Our next speaker has played at the highest level in Scotland, both at club and international level, and is currently the manager here at Falkirk. Steven Pressley is one of only a handful of players who's turned out for both sides of the old firm, but it was at Dundee United and then Hearts that he made his mark in club football. At Hearts he made over 271 appearances, was club captain, led his team to success in the 2006 Cup final. Capped for Scotland 32 times, before hanging up the playing boots and moving into the dugout as assistant and then manager here at the Falkirk Stadium. With that level of experience, he is a man with the credentials to comment on what needs to change in Scottish football, and that is the subject of his presentation today. Please put your hands together for Steven Pressley.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. With the exception of Celtic, all our sides out of Europe by the end of August. This scenario has become a regular occurrence. Celtic flying the flag for Scotland. But the reality is this: one academy player started in the famous victory against Barcelona, Charlie. Only two Scottish players started that night, Mulgrew and Chris Commons. Chris Commons was developed south of the border. Our national team have failed to qualify for the Euro Championships since England '96, and a World Cup final since France '98. Our national team under 21s have failed to qualify for a major tournament since Spain '96, 16 years ago. One of our two largest clubs, Rangers, liquidated and performing in the lowest tier of Scottish football. One of our other major clubs, Hearts, tittering on the brink. And Dunfermline, their predicament would appear to be very similar to that of Hearts. In year 2012, we still have a situation where 5 of our top flight clubs do not have their own private training base. Incredible. That is an incredible start. Where is the vision? Where is the vision? The amount of supporters going to games is also a real concern, with average attendances in general falling throughout our game. Several weeks ago, the combined attendance for 4 SPL games that were played on the Saturday was around 15,500. Our game's governing bodies, the SFA, the SFL and the SPL, can't work together. It would appear that I'm the bearer of bad news, but unfortunately, that is the reality. I'm deeply passionate about our game in this country and the development of it. But how do we address many of these problems? We must find the solutions. Yes, we must make some short-term changes that I believe can help galvanise the supporters' interest in our game. But as never before, we must be prepared to make and embrace change, sacrificing short-term success and self-interest for long-term success. This country's hopes and dreams lie in our young players. That is why the academies play such an integral part of the future. Many of our clubs are certainly investing time and finance in them. And yes, we are making progress. But for me, still nowhere near enough. Nowhere near enough. there must be a direct correlation between the footballing philosophy adopted at grassroots and academy levels and the style of play at the top end of our game. This would require and allow our game at first team level to evolve into a style with a greater emphasis on tactics and technique. You, the supporters, must embrace and truly start to understand the need for a change in our style of play. This style has been adopted by all our leading footballing nations. This is important. The academies are only bricks and mortar. But what is fundamental and the most important aspect of any academy is the footballing philosophy and the quality of the coaching. These are the two most crucial aspects. And this is an area that still really concerns me. Because I'm a little boy and his involvement at academy level, and by the way, not at this club, not at Falkirk, it has allowed me to witness firsthand many of the club's philosophies, the standard of the coaching, and the demands put on the young players. The win-at-all-cost mentality still exists within some academies. And this type of attitude is still most certainly having a detrimental effect on the development of our game. Young individuals, and trust me on this, young individuals either have a desire to win or they don't. They don't. But what we can influence and affect is the understanding of standards, their game intelligence, and the young players' technical ability. These are the three things that we can influence. And within our academies, we still, and believe me in this, we still are not working hard enough on the technique of the player. Nowhere near hard enough on the technique of the player. Repetition, 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 repetition. That's what's required. Receiving the ball with the inside of the foot and then on the outside while moving with the ball. Mastering these types of techniques until they can do it with their eyes shut. Then progressing, doing it with pressure applied. Although the type of exercise is very important, equally are the standards demanded by the coach. To tackle some of these problems, the SFA have a very important role to play. I believe that they must work harder with clubs to help and support them financially to employ good ex-professionals into the game at grassroots and academy levels. This is vital and will take the correct degree of investment. This, we must truly begin to understand, is the most important part of a player's development. And equally, our game's development, our game in this country's development. The employment of ex-professionals within academy structures is hugely prominent in the countries that have made real progress within the game.